Hey there, horror fans. Welcome back, y'all. Let's dive into a spine-chilling, yet oddly hilarious story set in the great state of Arkansas. Yep, the land of Walmart, Bill Clinton, and now, apparently, a half-man, half-pig psycho killer. Yeah, Arkansas is definitely full of surprises. So buckle up, because this one's a wild ride. The movie kicks off with a good old disclaimer. This is based on a true story, which, in horror movie terms, basically means we're gonna scare the pants off you, but it's probably 90% fake. Anyway, we're told about a town called Arkansas. No, not Arkansas with extra sass, but close enough. Apparently, a bunch of folks got slaughtered there by some pig-headed freak. Literally, this guy's head is like a pork chop on steroids. Locals claim he's half man, half pig, so basically, a real-life barbecue gone wrong. Then we jump straight into the woods, because of course that's where every horror story goes. There's this girl, running like she's late for Starbucks, hiding in the bushes, holding her breath. But guess what? Pigman shows up and treats her like a drive-through snack. Chop, chop, see ya. Next, we meet a badass biker chick headed straight for the woods, because camping in Arkansas is always a great idea. She parks her bike on the side of the road, real safe, and heads in with her backpack. She sets up her tent, probably thinking she's gonna roast marshmallows and live her best influencer life. But then, bam! She feels like she's being watched. Spoiler alert, she is. Pigman's got front row seats to her one-woman camping show. She sees him, freaks out, and runs faster than a TikToker chasing a viral trend. She hides behind a tree, classic horror move. Pigman's waving an axe around like he's on a Home Depot ad, but she manages to slip back to her tent, grabs her phone, and tries to call 911. But of course, the forest has worse signal than my grandma's flip phone. She hides inside, and suddenly, surprise, surprise, Pigman grabs her, drags her out, stabs her in the gut, and treats her like a Thanksgiving dinner. Bon appetit. Meanwhile, back in the city, we meet Tracy, who's on the phone with her dad while chilling at her friend Chess's house. She tells him she's going on a camping trip with Chess and her brother Dylan. Dad's like, "Girl, that forest is sketchier than a used car salesman." But in the end, he's like, "Okay, but take care of yourself." Because dads are softies like that. Tracy's all excited, probably thinking it's gonna be an Instagram-worthy adventure. Then Chess is like, "Cool, now I gotta convince my mom." She calls her mom, says she's going camping with Dylan and Tracy. Mom's like, "Fine, but don't come back with a pet pig." Cut to the forest again, where a runner girl's getting her cardio on. She hears something behind her, probably expecting Bigfoot. But nope, it's Pigman. She tries to run like she's training for the Boston Marathon, but he's faster. Bam, axe to the head. No medal for her. Later that night, Tracy, Chess, and Dylan finally hit the road. It's dark, because why not make things extra spooky? Dylan pulls over to relieve himself, because bladder horror is a must. Meanwhile, Chess checks her phone. 0 bars, classic horror flick moment. When Dylan comes back, Tracy goes off for a bit, probably to get her horror movie scream quota in. She comes back, and they decide to leave. But guess who's waiting? Pigman! He's like, "Welcome to my twisted Airbnb." He grabs Dylan and drags him off like a prize catch. Tracy and Chess freak out and run like they're in a Scooby-Doo episode. They reach the tent, the one place they think is safe. Spoiler, it's not. They decide to spend the night there and look for Dylan in the morning. Sweet dreams. Morning comes, and Dylan's still alive, but barely. He wakes up, tries to run, but collapses like a bad Wi-Fi signal. Chess wakes up, all stressed out, like she just found out they ran out of sweet tea. She's super worried about her brother. But Tracy's like, "Girl, let's be real. Your brother's probably dead meat by now. Let's bounce before we become his dessert." Chess is all like, hello? Plot twist. What if he's still alive? Shouldn't we try to help him? Tracy sighs like she's been through too many horror movies and says, "Fine, let's go find him." So they tiptoe out, hoping they don't run into that killer who's been sticking to them like a Walmart sticker on your new jeans. But guess what? Killer's right there waiting, and now he's following them like a creepy Tinder date that just won't quit. They freak out and sprint like they're in a dollar store Black Friday sale, but the killer's on their tail like a possum at a barbecue. Suddenly, they spot Dylan. Poor guy looks like he's been run over by a monster truck. But before he can even say help, the killer smacks him in the back with an axe so hard he's basically Arkansas roadkill. The girls are like, "Nope," and take off again. They pause for a second so Tracy can give Chess a therapy hug while she's bawling her eyes out. Tracy's like, "Don't worry, girl, we're getting out of this state alive, maybe." But then, Bam! The killer shows up again. They scream, run, and guess what? The killer catches Tracy like a raccoon in a trash can and slices her leg with that same axe. Tracy's basically a horror movie cliche at this point. Chess has had enough. She picks up a stick like she's Gandalf's long-lost cousin and whacks the killer on the head. The killer drops like a sack of potatoes, giving them time to escape. Chess rips off her shirt. Not for fashion, y'all, but to tie up Tracy's leg so she doesn't bleed out like a stuck pig. No offense to Pigman. Then they start running again, putting some serious distance between them and that Arkansas psycho. Tracy suddenly has a eureka moment. She's like, hey Chess, stay here. I'll go find help. Chess is like, what if Pigman shows up? Tracy's like, don't worry, I'll distract him with my wit and charm. Sure, Tracy, sure. So Tracy heads off solo. Probably the worst idea in every horror movie ever. She's terrified, hearing every twig snap like it's the killer breathing down her neck. She sits on a log to catch her breath, but it's covered in ants. Now she's dealing with bug bites on top of a killer. Arkansas, y'all. Tracy's back on her feet, but Pigman's back too, looking like he just came from an all-you-can-eat buffet. Tracy books it, finding Dylan again. Still alive somehow. She tries to get him up, but he's basically a potato sack at this point. She even does some DIY CPR, but he's not going anywhere. The killer shows up like a final boss fight. Tracy hides in a bush, but Pigman finds Dylan and gives him a neck makeover with that axe. Straight up slices him like a watermelon. Then he drags Dylan off for dinner. Guess Pigman's on the keto diet, heavy on the protein. Tracy comes out of hiding and ties her leg with her shirt again. She's got survival skills, y'all. Meanwhile, Pigman's having a picnic with Dylan's guts. Tracy's freaking out because there's no help anywhere, no roads, and she's stuck in this Arkansas forest like it's the Hunger Games. Then, jackpot! She spots a barbed wire fence and figures there's gotta be a house nearby. But Pigman shows up like a Walmart greeter. Tracy hauls butt over that fence like she's on American Ninja Warrior. Pigman's too slow to make it over, so Tracy's got a head start. She dives into a mustard field. Yes, mustard. Arkansas's finest, hoping to hide. But Pigman's still on her tail, like he's glued on with Fevicol. Tracy's done. This guy just won't quit. Pigman can't find her, so he shuffles off. Tracy bolts back into the woods, but he's right behind her again, ready to carve her up like a Thanksgiving turkey. He swings his knife, but Tracy snatches it, jabs it in his eye, and bam! Pigman's hurt, but plot twist. He pulls the knife out like it's a toothpick and just keeps coming. Tracy's like, are you kidding me? She grabs a stick and hides behind a tree, holding her breath like it's the last lap of a marathon. So, guess what? The killer somehow manages to track Tracy down again, even in the middle of nowhere. He's sneaking around, looking for her, but surprise, Tracy's nowhere to be found. Meanwhile, we meet a hunter who's out there just trying to enjoy a peaceful day of deer hunting. He spots Tracy and walks up to her, all casual, like, hey, what are you doing out here in the middle of the woods? Tracy, who's totally freaked out, spills the beans about the psycho killer chasing her, how he murdered her friend, and how he's probably gonna come for her next. The hunter, being the classic hero wannabe, reassures her, don't worry, missy, I'm here now, I'll help you. But of course, the killer shows up right on cue. Tracy's jaw drops. The hunter tries to act all tough, points his gun at the killer, and yells, back off or I'll blast ya. But guess what? The killer's like, a gun? That's cute. He grabs the hunter's gun, knocks him to the ground, and while the poor hunter's crawling away for dear life, the killer catches him, chops off his hands, and, yep, shoves them right into his mouth. That's one way to keep your mouth shut forever. Then the killer's back on Tracy's trail, determined to finish the job. She dashes through the forest and stumbles onto a riverbank, where she quickly washes her hands, like that's gonna help, and then decides she needs to find her bestie, Chess. After a frantic run, Tracy finally reaches Chess, who's super relieved to see her. Chess asks, did you get any help? Tracy rolls her eyes and says, yeah, I did get help, except the guy was a total coward. The killer sliced him up like a Thanksgiving turkey. And guess what? Dylan's dead too. Hearing that, Chess breaks down sobbing. But the two girls quickly pull themselves together and decide they have to get out of there, like yesterday. They head toward the main road, but stumble upon an abandoned cabin. Thinking they might find help, they rush inside, only to discover it's completely deserted. Just then, the killer bursts in. The girls shriek and bolt out of there, sprinting into the woods. While running, they realize the killer's still on their heels. The girls stop, catch their breath, and decide enough is enough. They're gonna fight back. As the killer lunges at them, he grabs Tracy. He's about to end her, but Chess snatches up an axe, smacks him upside the head, and bam! His head rolls off like a bowling ball. They both stare at the lifeless body, thinking they've finally won. They toss the head and axe aside and head toward the road, hoping to find help. But surprise! The killer's not done yet. He rises from the ground, picks up his own head, plops it back on like Mr. Potato Head, and grabs his axe. Clearly, this guy's not your everyday slasher. He's unstoppable. Meanwhile, the girls are stumbling toward the road, praying for a miracle. Cut to the killer, who's now lurking outside some poor guy's house. The man's eyes widen in horror, but before he can even scream, whack, he's dead meat. And that's how this wild ride of a movie ends. So folks, that was the story of the killer who just wouldn't die, and the two girls who might have made it out, fingers crossed. Let us know in the comments what you thought of this insane movie, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for more crazy stories like this. Like and share this video. Seriously, it helps us a ton. Catch you in the next one. Stay spooky.